In 2021, large crowds of workers began arriving at high altitudes in the mountains, accompanied by dozens of trucks transporting a vast array of equipment, tools, and thousands of tons of concrete. The reason? China had embarked on another mega-project, this time under extraordinarily challenging conditions. From the ever-present risk of earthquakes to extreme weather and the inherent dangers of working at such heights, the project was fraught with difficulties from the very beginning. However, China has a reputation for executing incredible construction feats, even in the most demanding environments. Given the country's history of ambitious infrastructure, this project is yet another fascinating example of their engineering prowess. The question remains, how did they manage to overcome the obstacles they faced? The construction site was located in Guizhou, a province that can be described in one word: mountains. Or perhaps too many mountains. No matter where you look, the landscape is dominated by towering peaks. In fact, when viewed from space, it is nearly impossible to find a single flat area. Guizhou's average elevation is approximately 3,600 feet, with mountains and hills covering a staggering 92.5% of the entire region. Many of these peaks reach impressive heights, such as Liang Mountain at 7,140 feet and Fangning Mountain, which peaks at 8,400 feet. The tallest of them all, Jiping Mountain, stands at an imposing 9,500 feet. Interestingly, the region is also home to natural formations that resemble pyramids, captivating the imagination and adding to the province's unique landscape. However, if you thought these structures were man-made, akin to the pyramids of Egypt, you'd be mistaken. These limestone formations date back over 200 million years and were formed in a marine environment. Guizhou is, in every sense, a land of mountains, mountains upon mountains, with no ordinary terrain in sight. The landscape here is nothing short of extreme, with steep slopes, sheer cliffs, and numerous waterfalls cascading thousands of feet down. It's a paradise for extreme sports enthusiasts, and with the construction of this new project, even more opportunities for adventure will arise. Imagine the thrill of the workers who are building such a massive structure in one of the most perilous environments imaginable. Beyond its mountains, Guizhou is also home to an extensive network of rivers, 984 in total. These waterways collectively discharge an astonishing 30 trillion gallons of water, making them a powerful source of energy. The province ranks 6th in China for hydroelectric potential, with a capacity of 18.74%. However, only 16.8 million kilowatts of this potential can be harnessed, still accounting for 4.4% of the country's hydroelectric power. Numerous hydroelectric plants have already been built in the region, including the famous Gehayan Power Station, which features an impressive ship lift system capable of raising vessels by a total of 653 feet. With such an abundance of mountains, the Chinese have had to develop innovative engineering solutions to navigate and utilize the rugged terrain effectively. One might assume that such a high energy output would contribute to strong economic growth and high living standards, but Guizhou's mountainous terrain presents a significant challenge. The geography hinders transportation, agriculture, and infrastructure development, making daily life difficult for its residents. As of 2023, the province's per capita disposable income was $27,988, ranking second lowest in China. Meanwhile, its GDP stood at $296 billion, placing it 22nd out of the country's 31 provinces. This economic struggle is particularly frustrating because Guizhou's climate is ideal for agriculture. With an annual temperature ranging from 50 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit, a frost-free period lasting between 250 and 300 days, mild winters, and moderate summers, the region has excellent farming potential. Precipitation levels are also favorable, making it comparable to the most fertile parts of southeast China. However, despite these advantages, the region's mountainous landscape severely limits large-scale farming and other forms of economic development. Certain industries that require less flat land could potentially thrive, but the biggest issue remains accessibility. The province's rugged topography makes it difficult for people to travel efficiently, And ultimately, it is people who drive economic growth. This challenge is one that Guiyu continues to grapple with as it seeks ways to improve connectivity and make better use of its natural resources while overcoming the constraints imposed by its dramatic terrain. Because they're the workforce, and unfortunately, for now, you can't replace them with robots capable of doing their jobs while living right in the factories or farms. There is a significant workforce in this region. As of 2022, Guiyu had a population of 38.5 million people, roughly the same as the populations of Canada, Poland, Malaysia, or Morocco. A clear example of the difficulties in navigating the region, which in turn leads to economic development challenges, is the story of a resident from the settlement of Haiyan. He grows vegetables that must be transported to another village for sale, but the only way to get there is by crossing a river. How does he manage it? By using a zip line, a cable or rope with a harness, pulley, and handle. This is an extremely risky method, especially at great heights. To make matters worse, while traveling this way, he must carry his produce on his back, increasing the likelihood of losing something valuable along the way. This settlement is home to over 20,000 households and approximately 100,000 residents, yet they're all essentially cut off from the outside world, as their only way out is to either fly over the river on a zip line or rent a boat, which wastes a lot of time. Other routes are simply not an option, as the village is surrounded by mountains. However, at one point, everything changed. The construction of a bridge transformed life in the settlement almost immediately. People were able to afford proper transportation, such as motorcycles and cars. Some even experienced financial success, with their income rising to around 60,000 yuan, or approximately $8,700. Or farmland could be cultivated. However, the most significant benefit is simply allowing people to move freely across the province's rugged landscape, overcoming the obstacles posed by steep mountains, cliffs, and fast-moving rivers. One major effort to improve the region's infrastructure has been this very project. The construction of this incredible engineering feat began in 2021 right above the Huiyan Gorge, where the Bian River flows. Watching videos of the site, one question naturally comes to mind. How high is the bridge? During the construction, Chinese engineers decided to push it even further. That is the distance between the main span of, if you stack 2 Eiffel Towers, you get an idea. By ensuring stability within the framework, the structure sets a world record. This design surpasses the Humber Bridge in the UK, which was once the longest suspension bridge in the world. Once completed, which is scheduled for 2025, the bridge will have a total length of 9,500 feet, consisting of more than 24 spans, each measuring 130 feet. The engineers didn't just focus on functionality, they also took aesthetics into account. They wanted to give the bridge a classic appearance, aiming for a design that would remain timeless. Whether they achieve that goal is up for debate, as personal tastes vary. But don't you think the bridge resembles another famous one? Yes, there is an undeniable resemblance to the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. The similarity is clear at first glance. The entire construction process may seem effortless, much like many other mega projects in China, which are often completed at an astonishing speed. However, in reality, building the bridge over the Huajian Gorge has been an enormous challenge. For starters, constructing such a high structure is undeniably impressive. It is, after all, a world record, but at the same time, it presents significant dangers for the workers involved. The Chinese authorities ensured that safety was a top priority, implementing numerous insurance policies and various protective measures to minimize the risk of accidents. Even so, after the initial assessments, it became clear that the workload would be far greater than expected. The slopes of the construction site turned out to be highly uneven, adding yet another layer of complexity to the project. This challenge required not only additional equipment, but also significantly more resources. On the northern slope, engineers had to construct a massive concrete tower, standing 860 feet tall, 190 feet higher than the tower on the opposite side, which reaches 670 feet. Even though the workers were equipped with extensive safety gear and protective measures, they could never be entirely certain that conditions would always remain safe. One of the reasons for this uncertainty was the region's ongoing geological activity. Goayu's mountainous terrain did not stop shifting after its formation. While the province does not experience earthquakes as frequently as Japan, seismic activity is still a concern. According to an earthquake tracker website, there have been 8 recorded earthquakes in Guyou over the past year, with magnitudes ranging from 4.0 to 5.2. Looking further back, a 5.7 magnitude earthquake struck the province in 2012, leading to the deaths of 80 people, injuring over 700, and forcing the evacuation of more than 100,000 people in neighboring Yunnan, which was also affected. In 2014, another earthquake impacted both Yunnan and Guyou, with Yunnan bearing the brunt of the disaster, suffering over 360 casualties. However, the tremors were strongly felt in Guyou as well. Such past events demonstrate that powerful earthquakes have occurred in the region, posing a serious risk to structures under construction, especially a massive suspension bridge like this one. The dangers do not end with seismic activity. The climate at the construction site has also posed challenges. According to Alimak, a Stockholm-based company that provided some of the equipment for the project, the bridge is being built in a plateau region where significant temperature variations occur between day and night. This results in frequent convective weather conditions and strong winds throughout the year, further complicating construction efforts. Despite the growing list of difficulties, the Chinese construction team has continued to make steady progress. Remarkably, no accidents have been publicly reported. The latest update from January 2025 confirmed that the final steel truss section, an enormous piece weighing 255 tons, has been successfully put into place. This milestone marked the completion of 80% of the project. Now, the final step before completion is the installation of panel segments between the trusses. Once that is done, the bridge will be finished as planned in the second half of 2025. This project is expected to be completed on schedule despite all the obstacles because of the massive investment involved. A total of $280 million has been allocated to its construction. In reality, this bridge over the Huiyin Gorge is set to bring tremendous benefits to the province. The most obvious advantage is the significant improvement in infrastructure, particularly in Guyou, which, as mentioned earlier, suffers from poor transportation networks that hinder economic growth. With a bridge in place, economic ties between Goayu's regions will be strengthened, particularly between Guang'an and Chainan. The reason is simple. Goods, people, and essential services will be able to move freely across the canyon. Currently, there are bridges in the province, including the impressive D Bridge, but the nearest alternative crossing point is at least of service area. The bridge will integrate into the province's tourism infrastructure. Some of the tourist facilities are being developed alongside the bridge itself, ensuring that visitors can enjoy the full experience from the moment it opens. Goayu knows how to build bridges and capture the world attention while doing so. It's no surprise that the province has earned the nickname the Museum of Bridges. China as a whole is famous for its bridges, constructing more of them each year than any other country. However, Goayu stands out even in this bridge-building powerhouse. It is a true mecca for engineering enthusiasts. Of the world's 100 tallest bridges, nearly half are found in this province. In total, Goayu is home to over 30,000 bridges, ranging from ancient stone crossings to cutting-edge marvels of modern engineering. The region features everything from small footbridges to colossal structures soaring over multi-thousand-foot-high gorges. A quick glance at the list of the world's 15 tallest bridges reveals that 8 of them are in Guyou. Soon, the top spot will belong to the Huiyin Gorge Bridge. Until then, the title is still held by the Duge Bridge, which is located about 124 miles away. Duge is a 4-lane cable-stayed bridge with striking A-shaped towers, and the distance from its deck to the river below is an astonishing 1,920 feet. Though its total length of 4,396 feet isn't particularly remarkable, crossing it is an unforgettable experience. Construction of the Doge Bridge took place between 2011 and 2016, another project completed quickly despite the same geographical and engineering challenges faced by the Hualien Gorge Bridge. Another notable structure is the Pingtang Bridge, which ranks third among the world's tallest bridges by deck height. It spans the deep valley of the Sa River, connecting the highway from Pingtang to Luoyang. With a height of 1,890 feet and a total length of 6,890 feet, this massive bridge features a tower just 49 feet shorter than France's famous Millau Viaduct, which holds the record for the tallest bridge piers in the world. The construction of the Pingtang Bridge came at a cost of 1.5 billion yuan, or roughly $215 million. Guoyu is also home to the world's largest arch bridge, with a steel tubular deck filled with concrete. This engineering feat spans an impressive 6,276 feet, with its main arch soaring 1,654 feet above the ground. There's an old saying about Guoyu. There are no 3 days without rain, no 3 fields without a mountain, and no 3 coins in anyone's pocket. Based on the province's remarkable bridge-building achievements, one might add, there are no 3 gorges without a record-breaking bridge.